Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning into my channel. I just want to say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you all, for me and my family. I want to go over a couple of things before we start. The first thing I want to go over is the fact that every Sunday, 6:30 Eastern Time, PM, I'll be dropping a fishing video. Maybe Thursday or Tuesday, I'll be dropping my airbrush videos. I also airbrush fishing lures as well. And here's my station. This is my setup. I haven't been in here in a while, so I actually need to put that vent thing back to the window and get things squared away. So today I'm going to actually go over airbrushing micro lure. I think I'm gonna do this one more of a beginner's course for people who wanna learn. So it's gonna be a lot of details, just like what I use. Maybe some of the paints I mix. I don't think I'm gonna go over that this time. That's gonna make the video extremely long, unless someone asks, and then I'll break down what paints I use. The very first thing you want before you start anything is this. I actually wore this in the beginning of COVID. People thought I was nuts, but I literally couldn't smell anything, and it worked. I may have looked like a nut job standing outside, but it worked. The next thing you're gonna need, of course, is an airbrush. I got a couple. Your compressor, and then a couple of paints. If you've been doing this for a while, you probably recognize some of the paints that's here. You're gonna need some stencils. You don't necessarily need stencils. This is the most important thing to me when it comes to stencil, my scale pattern. I use a wire mesh, and I'll of course leave links in the description or in the video. To make it even better, you can click. I make it so you can click on the link during the video and you can go see what it is. And then you can come back to the video afterwards. What else do you need? Of course, you're gonna need some alligator clamps. Helping hands is what that's called. You're gonna need some kind of airbrush cleaning kit. I kind of Jimmy rigged up one off of a alcohol bottle and some foam. No, I'm saying that wrong. Some cotton, and cut a hole in the bottle, and when I spray, it filters out the excess paint from going up. The one that I had before was a little jar thing, but it filled up so quickly, so I stopped using that. The next thing you're gonna need is, me personally, the water and a water bottle, just with a little like reverse vacuum thing. So what I do is I would literally squeeze in the bottle or squeeze into the brush head water and then suck it back up. And because the straw isn't all the way at the bottom, it will let the debris or the excess paint settle at the bottom so that it doesn't go back into the brush. Well, now with that being said, we are gonna start. I'm gonna put this on the helping hands. I'm gonna sit down. The airbrushes I actually been cleaned, tested them all. This is what I use, needle juice. After cleaning them, you take this, put it on the tip, turn it upside down and just let a little drop run down your needle. This is the way I use it. It's just a lubricant. And then I also will spray it out just to make sure it's all out of there. My airbrush PSIs are at 20, between 20 and 15, depending on how dense my paint is. If it's pretty light, I'll stay in 15. If it's a little bit heavier and it's like being slightly harder to come out, then I'll go up 20, maybe 30, all depending on what the ink is and if it has glitter or it's pearlized or not. With that being said, we are going to start. Let me get this out of the way. Lip is wrapped. I'm gonna actually take this mask off and talk to you guys. Once I start spraying, I'll stop talking. So, like I was saying, the first thing you wanna do is make sure that your bait's lip is wrapped. First thing you wanna do, or the first thing I do, is make sure the bill, the lip, is wrapped. And I use 3M painter's tape. It's pretty easy to undo once you get your lure painted and stuff. The next thing I do is with the unwrapped bill or lip, I use this little guy, some metal mesh, and I actually wrap the lure completely. You could use, there's a multitude of different things you can use. Loofah, I think that's what they call it. The stuff you use to take a shower with. You could use potato sacks, stuff that's in the onions, the onion bags. There are so many different things you could use, but this is my go-to. I use this. It's kind of finicky. If you're not paying attention, it can easily take up the paint once you've painted it already. But I'm right now just making my scale pattern. Now that I got that squared away, oh, by the way, today's pattern is going to be something simple. I'm not going to do anything too crazy. This is a floating model bait that I'm painting. Crankbait. So now that I got my scales how I want them, I'm going to tear off this extra tape just so that I got enough space. The very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some black in my brush. This here is just like true black. This is actually discontinued. There's a ton of different blacks you can use. The good thing about this one was it's ready to spray. Literally ready to spray. As soon as it comes out of the bottle, you don't have to do any extra guessing on making the ink the right consistency. I don't need that much while I'm at it. Next, I'm gonna pull my mask down. I'm gonna spray real quick. This is the first layer. Also, I've been spraying for a while. It's been over 7 years, so usually I would check to make sure it's spraying correctly, but I know it's spraying correctly, so I'm just gonna go right to it. hit it lightly, one side. Also, sorry for the ambience, that is the actual compressor. I will edit that out when it's running. And I will try not to say anything, or I will actually stop doing everything and then go back to it. Sorry for the ambience. I will wait for the air compressor to finish before I go back into painting and talking as well. So, other side, we want to hit it with a little black. Don't go too crazy. Hit the bottom. You really don't necessarily need to hit the bottom. And because I have paint left over, this will be my backup bait. You know, I call it the backup. It won't necessarily be complete like my first bait, the one that I'm showing you guys. Usually I'll spray 10 at a time. So I'm just gonna hit this one with the rest of the black to kill out any leftover ink. Actually had enough black to fully paint that. All right, so now that that's done, I'm gonna clean out the brush with some water. There's a multitude of ways to clean out your brush. This method I use is the one I've been using for the longest. So I literally would put some water in there. Fill it up. Push the needle back and forth. You don't have to jam it because you don't want to mess up your tip that's actually holding the needle in place on the front of the brush. And also because since I'm not using that much ink, I'm not gonna go all crazy with Q-tips and stuff like that. But this is the part where I would literally, put water in and suck it out. You just do it a couple times till the water is not color at all. It will be clear. So now that the water's clear, I would hit lower with blow dryer. That is another thing you actually need. I'm gonna put a list of stuff in the beginning that you need. Completely forgot to say that. Dried, I am going to now wrap the entire lure I'm actually gonna take it off the alligator clamps now too, because I want to actually hold it while I'm doing this, mainly so I don't scratch it up. Slide it into place. In most cases, people use little, no, I had some. Look, I should have. Usually, people don't have these laying around. They're just little clamps. I'm gonna put one on one end, one on the other, and I'm gonna get out some white. And I'm actually gonna keep this on there for the rest or the remainder of this bait being sprayed. Now I'm definitely gonna check this white, mainly because I have 3 different types. I have an opaque, a transparent, and then I have like a enhancer. And I just need to figure out which one is which before I start. If you're wondering what I mean by enhancer white, I literally just mixed a little bit of blue and a little bit of silver in it to give it just a slightly off. Just a slightly silverish tint. Then I also use that for the undercoat if I plan on doing like a rainbowish marble look that some fish have. That was not completely clean because in this case, actually, I'm gonna use the enhancer white because I want to do a little marble, blue, purple, yellowish tint to it. So I'm gonna hit it with some enhancer white. The entire thing. And now that I think about it, I may, nope, I'm gonna leave it on. So just hit the whole thing with a little bit of white. Try not to angle it. Don't worry about spraying the bottom. In my case, I'm not worrying about it because I'm gonna actually spray that entirely white on the bottom. No scales. I'm gonna hit it again with some more white, just so that it's stronger. On the sides. And hopefully I didn't overspray. Overspray, of course, is technically when you literally overspray. And what happens when you overspray? So 2 things. Overspray. Overspray is when you literally overspray the lure and the excess ink runs down behind the mesh and when you peel it off, there won't be any lines showing scale patterns. Another way to get overspray is if you spray too much and you use your blow dryer on high, and that pushes the ink down. So you really want to do it with low, 30 seconds each side, and then hit it with the high. That's me, 15 seconds both sides. So now that that part is done, I am also going to make a scale for this little guy because I didn't do so. This right now while it's painted black. Remember what I said about grabbing one that's already just got the lip wrapped or no wrap at all. And let's see how I want to do this. Good underneath, because I'm going to cut the excess off. Anyone can airbrush, honestly, guys. I know some people who think you have to be an artist to airbrush fishing lures. You don't. Alligator clamps or the little, whatever works for you. The little brown, I don't know what you call those things. They're not alligator clamps. I've always seen them on clotheslines. Clothespins. I think that's what they're called. But also make sure that they're not in the way of where you're gonna spray. This one's definitely got overspray. I can tell from the fact that it's not fully touching the body how I wanted it to. But I'm gonna sit this back here because this is literally my backup to clean the extra ink out. So the next thing you wanna do is clean out your brush. I'm not going to sit here and now that the brush is clean, the next step, I'm going to go down the sides with the mixed color that I use. It's a couple of different colors that I mixed together to make this color. The primary color is purple, and then the secondary color is blue. Folk. Let me see if I got the bottle sitting right here. It looks like this is the company. Yes. Color shift. This stuff's pretty cool if you can see it. It's by Folk Art, and it's an acrylic paint metal gloss finish. Can you see that color? All right, just spray it just a little bit. 10 seconds max. You don't want to overspray. I'm gonna hit this with over the top. I'm gonna go with a really soft brown or I want to say it's ochre. I might be calling it. I might be calling it the wrong name. Let me just double check. Also, guys, you don't have to copy my color scheme to a T. This is just me creating a color scheme off of, honestly, the Pointer 48 SP minnow that I have. And the brown I'm actually going to use is brown gold. I'm going to hit it with a little bit of brown gold. I did not this time, I did not clean the brush out because I want that mix or that fade to happen. I'm only going to put 3 drops in here and just check it to make sure it's working. I'm going to go over the top. Just over the top on both sides. I am going to take off the mesh. Gotta pull it off carefully because if you pull it off, you can scratch the lure. And there it is. My last and final step is I'm gonna take white and just run it right through there. And I may do a little bit of orange, not 100% sure. We'll see. I've also been doing this one here in the background with leftovers. So I'm gonna do the same with this one. Take the body off. Metal mesh off, I mean. This one's darker because I didn't go nearly as white. But this is also weight bait, so I don't need to go too crazy with this one. So I'm gonna go back to white on both of these across the bottom. Actually, I'm gonna spray out this brown, the last little bit that I have left, over the top. Just so it's a little bit darker. Spray the front. All right. Great. Hit the bottom with white on both. And I'm gonna, of course, a bit of gold in it. Yeah, I think that works. All right, last and final step that I'm gonna do for these before clear coating is, of course, put the eyes on. Making a mess. I'm trying to get this eye on here. Too much super glue came out, so I don't want it to get all over the place. Okay. All right, I'm gonna hit this with the blow dryer. Actually, no, I'm not gonna hit with the blow dryer just yet, because the other one I did put the glue on it already, so I'm gonna try to get the eyes on this one before it dries. Slide it in there. This one actually has a decent socket, and that is a perfect size. Right, now I'm gonna hit these with the heat. And before I dip it in the KBS clear coat, I am going to peel the tape off the bill of the lip. Okay guys, that's the micro crankbait ready to be dipped.